So today is Denim Day. What Denim Day is, it's supposed to be awareness of sexual assault because what happened, I believe, in the late 90s, a girl was forced to have sex with a man, and if she didn't, he threatened to kill her brothers, her as well, and her other family members. So he raped her, and she ended up going to the police, filing a report, and then she went to court. The judge said, no, you weren't raped because your pants were too tight. So obviously, you took it off for him, or at least helped him. Tried to find a way to basically reward a man for raping a young girl because the legal system is pretty much fucked up. And I learned the other day that about 2% of rapists are actually punished, put in jail, because we live in a society where we praise men for basically getting what they want. And it's true. This is a rape culture. Rape culture is everywhere, and it's in the United States as well. And sexual assault and rape is not getting any better. But what I wanted to talk to you about today was this forum that I went to the other day. We talked about sexual assault. This man was the host of the event. It was outside of the cafeteria. What I didn't really like about his delivery was that he was sort of making light of it. He was like, come on, like, why would you, like, have sex with someone or force yourself onto that person when there's plenty of fish in the sea? You know, you can get anything you want, and you choose to rape that person. Basically, like, they raped that person because they couldn't get sex. No, they raped the person because it was likely planned, and because they had it in their mind to attack that specific person. Because many rapists have it in their mind to rape a person that they have already targeted. They scope a person out and say, that's the person, and they usually stalk them. They stalk the person until they finally decide, this is a day that I'm going to rape them, and it happens. And it is never the person's fault, the victim's fault, that is. And 93% of the time, the victims know the rapist. I thought that the forum got a little bit better once people were able to speak. I spoke as well. I didn't really say anything in detail, but I alluded that I was more or less sexually harassed growing up, and you can even say molested, because I've had boys try to force themselves on me, or even a couple attack me, and they say, well, you said that you liked me, but it's like, that doesn't mean that I want it. If I say no, no means no. And for you to force someone upon you makes it like, oh, it doesn't matter if you say no. If I want it, then I'm going to get it. And people were just talking and sharing their experience. One man came up and talked about how he was raped by his stepfather. So I thought that was, that was good for him to come up as well. And he mentioned how a lot of male rape survivors are erased, and that's because of the patriarchy, this ideal that men are allowed to be emotional, men cannot be violated, because this is a patriarchy which says that women are weak, women are delicate. That doesn't always intersect with Black women, dark-skinned women of color, and especially trans women. The delicate part usually relates to white women, which it's complicated because in some ways being perceived as delicate can protect you. But with me, as a disabled, brown-skinned Black woman, when I am looked at as delicate, it's not to protect me, it's to silence me. And I know women darker than me don't really get that. They don't get looked at as delicate. They don't get that benevolent misogyny that lighter skinned women of color and white women get. They get the untouchable, unwanted misogyny. You're gross. No one wants to touch you. And Laverne Cox touched on that when she did her lovely photo shoot. But as I was saying, in this society, because women are looked at as more vulnerable than men, we are more susceptible to violence. We are attacked more. Women are 4 times more likely to be raped than the general public, women and girls. And then the man mentioned that Native American women are the most likely to be sexually assaulted or raped. And he brought that part up, but I wish he would have brought up African American women and street harassment, because by you naming likely non-black native women, you're not bringing up Afro-Indigenous women, you're just bringing up Native women. And I'm going to assume you're talking about light-skinned, non-black Native American women. I thought that could potentially be problematic because, following women like Bad Dominicana and her Twitter handle is at T-Girl-Interrupted. They are both Afro-Indigenous women. Bad Dominicana is a light-skinned Afro-Indigenous woman as well as Afro-Dominican. And T-Girl-Interrupted is a dark-skinned trans Afro-Indigenous woman. And they talk a lot about the sexual violence against African American women, women of African descent, Indigenous women, and Afro-Latino women, and how African American women, in America especially, of course African American women, but like the womanists talk about how there is so much street harassment towards black women and it goes erased. They don't talk about it because women of African descent are already seen as undesirable. Who would want to rape this person? No one wants them. They are unrapeable. They are already hypersexual. But rape has nothing to do with desirability or how attractive you are. It is violence. And I mentioned that it really pissed me off in Light Girls when this brown-skinned woman said that because she was considered light-skinned, she was raped. And although that was probably true because they were attracted to the fact that this was a lighter skinned woman and they were attracted to her features and thought, okay, we can have our way with her. To sit there and say that light skinned women are more likely to be human trafficked and to be raped is so problematic and is such a disservice to all black women, especially dark-skinned black women, and I was disgusted. So I brought that part up. Of course, people were looking at me like, what the fuck? Like, oh my God, like, damn, she's always like on this shit. And they always looking at me like, what are you talking about? And I don't think they mean it like, well, I don't agree, but it's like, damn, she's spitting some shit that no one is even thinking about. Wow. And it made me mad that the man said, we're going to bring our feminists up. So I'm thinking, okay, he's talking about me. I don't identify as a feminist, but I don't mind when people label me as a feminist, even though I identify as a womanist. If people say that's a feminist, I'm not going to argue with them because, I support the feminist movement, but for personal reasons and for cultural reasons, I don't identify as a mainstream feminist, the feminism that a lot of us know of. He brought up some white girl, and I agreed with her sentiments. I agreed with what she said 100%. I was clapping like, amen. I agree about how sexual assault has absolutely nothing to do with the clothes that you wear. A woman can wear exactly what she wants and still get raped. And I was agreeing with her, but it made me feel some type of way that, okay, well, these two white girls are feminists on campus. They're doing something because they are talking. But then what the fuck am I doing then? Always talking about race, always bringing up race and sex issues with black women. What the fuck am I doing then? Just ranting and raving? I guess because I am a black girl, that's what it is. That's how people perceive it as. But it just made me feel some type of way how they were known as the active feminist and I was just someone that was just talking. A couple of people call me the black feminist. The director of the Multicultural Student Organizations calls me a womanist. He knows what it is. He's a black man, so he has an idea of the difference between feminism and womanism, but I'm thinking I'm called an activist, which I don't really identify with that label because I don't really look at it as activism. I look at it as my life experience. And they don't really say, well, damn, she's doing a lot. She's a feminist, or at least a black feminist, and I felt sort of erased when I wasn't the person to be known as a feminist. They have their own female organization for all women. One girl created it. I know her, she was in NAACP, and she's like the sole white girl that is truly active in the multicultural student organizations. And she brought up her experience and then explained why that she created the organization for women. And I would like to come to that, but I wasn't able to make it. But I am in this organization, Today's Black Women, and she gave a shout out to that how, that's another female organization that helps, build strong women. And I don't mean strong women in an ableist sense, because I don't really like that whole you are a strong black woman. And that man did call one girl who shared her rape experience a strong black woman. No, I hate that. Why the fuck would you even force that label onto her? She shared a very triggering experience, and all you can say is, way to go, my strong black sister. No, because you wouldn't have said that to a white girl. You would have probably coddled her and said, oh, I'm so sorry, take your time. No, yeah, you strong black sister. And she's sharing a very graphic and gory detail of her rape. Like, I don't even like that. I didn't like that at all. So I felt like, for the most part, the forum was pretty problematic. And then towards the end, it shifted from talking about rape and the rapist to, guess what? Self-respect. They basically brought up how, well, now you need to know how to present yourself. And although it doesn't matter what you are wearing and you're not asking for it, at the same time, you just have to present yourself the way you want to be looked at. You wouldn't be attracting shitty ass men if you wouldn't be dressing the way that you dress, in short shorts and a crop top or a sports bra or a short skater skirt or a dress that, is a little bit too short, and you're wearing, spaghetti straps and showing all your cleavage and whatnot. And there's nothing wrong with that. And they went off topic. First of all, it had absolutely nothing to do with sexual assault. I turned to my friend like, what does that have to do with sexual assault? And they were just talking about, well, if you want to dress sluttish, that's your choice, but remember, you have an image to uphold. That's nothing to do with sexual assault. It has nothing to do with it. I stood up and said, the sexually immoral person is a rapist. That's it. Someone who sexually abuses you. The sexually immoral person is not someone who wears what they want to wear and sleep with whoever they want to sleep with and how many they want to sleep with. As long as you're not hurting anyone and you're not manipulating anyone, I don't give a fuck about your sexuality. And if I do, it's because I love the way that you are. I love everything about you. I love that it describes who you are. That's your expression. That's your individuality. That's how you were born. That is who you are. And don't let anyone shame that. Don't let anyone minimize your experience. It doesn't matter if it took you 14 years to basically say, hey, this was pretty fucked up. This is what happened. It doesn't matter if it took you that long to stand up and say, this is what happened. It doesn't matter if you said it in front of a crowd. It doesn't matter if you said it in private. It doesn't matter if you were even laughing about it, making jokes about it, talking in double AVE or AB or however you pronounce African American vernacular with the acronym. It doesn't matter if it seemed like you were detached. It's painful. It happened to you. And don't let anyone minimize it just because it took you so long to finally say, hey, this is what happened, and I think I was raped. I think I was sexually molested at this age. You know, don't minimize that, because if that's how they feel, that's how they feel. You know, I've been manipulated a couple of times. I've, been pressured to do things that I really didn't want to do. It was one person, but that happened. And even though I'm looking at it like, well, it ain't that deep for me because that's my way of coping, sometimes it is that deep for other girls. Actually, many times it is that deep. So don't minimize people's experiences or feelings. And I keep looking at my watch, but I'm trying to see what time it is because I need to study for my math test before I take this test at around 12:30. But yeah, I just didn't really like how the forum went. I didn't like how it took a left by talking about self-respect. And I don't like how it basically says that if you dress this way, and it is especially targeted towards black girls, then expect the shit men that you get, that you don't deserve any better. You don't deserve good men or a good woman because of the fact that you are dressed like this. You deserve shit like me because I want you. And that's basically what you are saying. You're basically saying, well, you may be too good for me because you are a decent human being, but since I want you, then you deserve me, and I'm going to dehumanize you, minimize who you are as a person, so I can pressure you to get with me because you don't deserve any better. I've had people tell me, and I said this at a forum, don't be surprised if you get snatched up and raped because you are wearing short shorts or yoga shorts, those tight black shorts all up on my booty because I was walking at night. I walk at night so many times, and I tell my friends facetiously, if anyone is walking at night and if they feel some type of way about the area, run fast or something. Maybe that's not good advice for a black person, but honestly, it has nothing to do with how you are dressed because lurkers be trying to find a lone person at night. And this boy brought up that if it were about the way that you are dressed, then why are there rape victims? And I said, why are women in conservative religions where they are told to dress conservatively to cover up, why are they still raped? Why are they some of the highest numbers of women to be sexually assaulted? Because misogyny, because women aren't valued in this society. Women are seen as objects to please cis hetero men. That is why. That's why. There are rape survivors who are male, and I will never erase them. And it angers me that people want to erase them, to let them be silent. It actually hurt me when I found out that only 3% of men report rape. Only 3%, and I am sure that there are more rape victims and survivors than that. But only 3% feel like they should tell because this society tells men that they can't be raped. That if they are raped, they're asking for it. Especially boys of color. Boys of color oftentimes are solicited by their white teachers or their white neighbors or white female teachers and neighbors. It's usually white women who are preying on these young boys, the Madonnas. You're coming, African American boys, Afro Latino boys, non-black Latino boys, Native American boys, indigenous boys, boys of color. And it's usually white female teachers doing that. And it's, oh yeah, that boy should have been lucky because she's white and she's conventionally attractive. And the same thing with girls. Oh yeah, she should have been lucky that that attractive teacher solicited her and groomed her because he was an attractive teacher. And even if she seemed like she wanted it, she was a young girl. She was underage. He had more power over her. That was statutory rape. What Madonna did, or what she claimed to have did in her sex book with that Latino boy, Puerto Rican boy, was statutory rape. She is basically the veteran Lena Dunham. I can't say that I've had a traumatic experience with rape, because I don't think, like, I've never been forcibly penetrated. That's, how, like rape doesn't necessarily mean forcible penetration, because this girl was digitally raped. Okay, she was raped. You can be orally raped. There's all types of rape. But I can't say I had the most traumatic experience. I just don't know how to describe it. But at times you feel like, yeah, that feels nice, but I don't think it's right. But it feels nice, but you really shouldn't be doing this. But it feels nice, but you really shouldn't be doing this. You need to stop. I'm sure a lot of us had felt that way. We couldn't say, well, it was this because, well, we liked it, so does it really constitute as molestation or rape? I mean, I'll be the judge of it for myself and say it can be, because you don't have to say it's rape or not. You don't have to, it's your choice. But then no one can invalidate you. And if you want to say this person did this to me, you have the right to basically get them in trouble, to report them. I also want to talk about how in school, I was sexualized in school by male teachers. I had female teachers come up to me and say, Kara, your favorite male teacher felt uncomfortable to say that your shorts were a little bit too short, so he came to me and told me to tell you that your shorts are a little bit too short. And I even asked my female teacher at the alternative school I went to, are you saying I'm a slut? That internalized misogyny, slut shaming. Because I knew a little bit about slut shaming when that girl at that Mormon college, I believe, in Utah was told that her skirt was too short, and it wasn't short at all. So I got the gist of a little bit of what slut shaming was, but I didn't really understand it until probably 2013. Wow. But as a black girl, I'm walking around with short shorts, and I got thick brown legs, a plump buttocks, a plump booty, a big ass gluteus maximus, and people are looking at me more, sexualizing a black body, a brown skinned body, and saying, damn, her shorts are too short. But they're not even looking at that. They are looking at the legs, they are looking at the hips and the curves and the ass, and then they try to say, well, your shorts are too short. And I'm looking around and I'm seeing white girls, taller white girls, skinnier white girls wearing shorts that are even shorter than mine, and no one cares because, well, they don't got a body, they are thin, so it's okay. But if you got boobs and if you got an ass and you got curves, you need to cover that up. And girls were speaking up about how, when I was growing up, my mom told me that as a young black lady with a body like mine, I should cover it up. I should be modest. Sexualizing young black girls because they want to wear shorts. They want to be just as carefree as the next white girl in shorts and a tank top. It made me mad on the Charm School reunion show, with the Flavor of Love girls, when Pumpkin was like, well, just because I'm a white girl doesn't mean you need to call me a slut. I'm just a carefree white girl, and that's why I'm the way I am. And it made me mad because it was like, I was 13 at the time, but I thought, wait, so she can wear short shorts and short skirts and be sexually carefree because she's a white girl with blonde hair, but then if a black girl does it, then she's like, ooh, that thought. And I look around and I see some black girls, wearing short shorts and the skater skirts and, the skirts that you see a lot of white girls wear. But then you don't really see that in a lot of black girls. At least where I am from, a lot of black girls, I don't want to say cover up a lot, but they are more conservative than the white girls. And that's because white girls are told to be sexually carefree, while black girls are told to just cover it up. Your body's nasty, it's ugly. Especially dark-skinned girls, because you look at the rap videos, it's the long-haired, curly-haired, light-skinned, or mixed-race girls who are sexually vibrant.